Hello guys, this is Revolution. So, after episode 127 of Dragon Ball Super, we got some backstory, some origin, some history to Jiren's character, and what we learnt was quite fascinating, but there's a theory that's come out amongst the community concerning who the villain, who it was advocated, killed, murdered Jiren's parents and his village people, or possibly his entire race, could potentially be, and a lot of people are theorizing that it could in fact be the previous villain, Goku Black. The main catalyst for this projection is simply the shadowy figure we saw in Jiren's flashback with the red evil eyes that we also saw when Goku Black first made his appearance in the Future Trunks saga. Dragon Ball Super certainly used the same artistic style to depict both villains or evil beings. So in this video we are going to be discussing the parallels between the two interpretations, whether or not it could be Goku Black, not just from a narrative point of view, but whether it would also make sense when we bring the lore into it. By that I mean using the time rings, time travel, etc. And whether or not this makes any sense at all. Just before we delve any further into this discussion, if you are not subscribed, make sure you are subscribed, then you'll be notified whenever I release new content. I release Dragon Ball content on a nearly daily basis. So if you love Dragon Ball, I can assure you, you will love my channel. Keep hitting that like button, keep lending me your energy. I am collating a huge Genki Dharma spirit bomb. When it's big enough, I'll send it straight at the content creators who claim they have proof or they're revealing something, only for you to waste your time watching their video and nothing's been proven. Hit that like button, lend me your energy. If you're on Twitter, come follow me because I do talk about Dragon Ball quite a lot on my Twitter account. It's on your screen right now. I'm also on Instagram. If you want to see a face reveal, come follow me on Instagram and you can see what I look like. So, did Goku Black, who was essentially Zamasu, who body snatched Goku's body using the Super Dragon Balls, murder Jiren of Universe 11's parents? So before we get into the nitty gritty of this, before I give my critique on this theory, I just want to say if Goku Black did kill Jiren's parents, it would actually be a rather fascinating and intriguing twist when you put the whole Dragon Ball Super series into perspective and look at each arc on its own and then in connection to all the other arcs. The Future Trunks saga almost doesn't fit. It almost feels like it's being shoehorned into the middle of two tournaments. The Future Trunks saga itself doesn't feel like it fits into the bigger picture of things. When you look back at the Battle of Gods, that was necessary leading up to the Tournament of Power. Now we know Golden Frieza is in the Tournament of Power, so was Resurrection of F, so was the God of Destruction tournament, and obviously everything after the Future Trunks saga pretty much led us to the Tournament of Power. Obviously, you could argue, well, from the Future Trunks saga, what we've got is two Omni Kings in the same timeline, and obviously there are two Omni Kings spectating the Tournament of Power, but essentially, this Tournament of Power would eventually have taken place without the future Omni King. So, unless this Tournament of Power ends with a rift between the two Omni Kings, it's highly unlikely the future Zeno was necessary for the Tournament of Power. So the point of all that was essentially to get you to understand what I mean by shoehorned in between two tournaments. It isn't a great creative choice to have one tournament preceded by another tournament straight after, and an argument could be made the Future Trunks saga was created solely to put some separation between the two tournaments. Now, I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I personally enjoyed the Future Trunks saga. It deserved a better ending, but it had quite possibly one of the best villains in the whole Dragon Ball franchise to date, but essentially the arc doesn't feel connected to the rest of the series. However, if the theory that Goku Black killed Jiren's parents comes to fruition in Dragon Ball Super, it would add some connectivity between the Future Trunks saga and the rest of the series. So in that respect, I'd have to say it's actually a good idea. The problem here lies with the fact that basically they never went with this notion in the first place. If they did somehow bring this up now, it would feel forced and shoehorned right at the end of the Tournament of Power. But the problem is, if it was inserted into the Dragon Ball narrative right now, would it make sense? Obviously, it wasn't just the shadowy figure that caused us to find parallels between this evil villain that killed Jiren's parents and Goku Black when he first came onto the scene. Another interesting aspect was the fact that he had a purpley pink ki, very similar to Super Saiyan Rose Goku Black. In Dragon Ball Super episode 61, we know that Goku Black stated he killed all the gods in all the universes. And guys, I keep having to debate this with people. He killed them all. He didn't not go to other universes. The only argument you can make is he only visited the supreme world of the Kais of the other universes. Goku Black would have had no struggles at all killing the supreme Kais, which ultimately kills the gods of destruction as well. It even shows us a sequence of Goku Black killing the supreme Kais one after another. But ultimately the Zero Mortals plan was designed to eradicate all mortals, as the title suggests. So is it possible that whilst Goku Black was in Universe 11, he went and killed Jiren's parents? But just think about this for a moment, it makes no sense at all. Goku Black killed all the gods in the future timeline, in future Trunks timeline, not in the present timeline. In the Jiren we see in the Tournament of Power is present Jiren. Some people counter this with the argument maybe Goku used the time ring to get back to the present timeline to kill Jiren's parents, so he wouldn't have to face Jiren once he got older. But guys, you must remember, affecting things in the present timeline, and I'm talking about the main storyline where Goku, Gohan, Vegeta all reside, doesn't affect anything in the future timeline. I mean, we learnt this in Dragon Ball Z. When future Trunks came back to the past, he was hoping to change the future, but when he went back to the future, everything was the same. Future Android 17 and future Android 18 were still causing chaos, and Trunks had to defeat them on his own. Fortunately, he had the power to do so after training with the likes of Goku, Vegeta and Gohan. Killing Jiren's parents in the present isn't going to affect anything in the future, and why kill Jiren's parents? It's Jiren who is the threat to Goku Black, and basically if he did learn anything about Jiren, he would have known basically that the trigger to Jiren's power was the villain that killed his parents. The only way he could have learned about Jiren in the first place was from Zuno, who is a nigh omniscient being, and basically killing Jiren's parents would be counterproductive on what he's trying to achieve. If it was to truly be him that did kill Jiren's parents, people are using the time ring as the tool in which he used to get back to the present. But guys, remember when he came back to the present and fought Super Saiyan 2 Goku? Supreme Kais use the time rings to observe events in the future, but they can't really travel backwards unless a certain thing happens. And in this case, it was future Trunks who travelled back to the past using his time machine, which ultimately created a distortion in time and space, and the time ring reacted to it and opened a portal into the past era. He was soon sucked back into the original plane he came from, which was the future timeline. So once again, this doesn't make sense. There's no way future Trunks was using his time machine to visit Jiren in the past. Of course, the Super Dragon Balls were pretty much at Goku Black's disposal. Could he have used them? Possibly. But then surely he would have took Jiren's body had he had known about Jiren's power. He wanted the strongest mortal body to be the embodiment of his self-righteous justice. I'm sure you remember in the manga, he actually chose to body snatch Monarca's body first because he believed Monarca was the strongest after the God of Destruction tournament. But then he soon changed to Goku when he realised Monarca was actually weak. But if he'd have known about Jiren, and he could have learnt about Jiren from Zuno, he would have chose Jiren's body. But he didn't know. He didn't have the motivation to inquire about a being like Jiren. And I think that's the whole crux of this theory, is what would be Goku Black's motivation to go and kill Jiren's parents rather than Jiren himself? It doesn't make any sense. On top of that, Goku looks exactly like Goku Black. After all, Goku Black's body is Goku's body. Surely Jiren would have picked up on this by now. He isn't really showing any disdain towards Goku. In fact, he actually seems to respect Goku. So in conclusion, from my personal point of view, I'm 99% sure that this theory will not come to fruition. The reason I only give it 99% is because I'm not one of those who dismisses something completely without the evidence being concluded in the show itself. Now here's one that I've not seen anyone bring up yet. Could it have been Astral Zamasu? After all, as Astral Zamasu started to spread throughout time and space, even making his way to other timelines, including the present timeline, he emitted a red and purple glow. In fact, when Jiren looks into his house to see the villain that killed his parents, if you look at the walls, there is the same red glow you see with Astral Zamasu. However, this is where that theory falls apart. The fact that after Jiren seemingly training for years with his master and his comrades, they take on this evil being again. But what we know of Astral Zamasu is the fact that basically he was taken out in quite a short amount of time. by future Zeno himself. So I basically just debunked my own theory there, but I just wanted to dismiss it before anybody tries to pull the wool over your eyes. Anyway, in terms of Goku Black, it's not that this theory wouldn't have been a good idea in the first place. If they had gone with this notion from the beginning of the Future Trunks saga and planted little bits of evidence here and there, or suggestions here and there, that led up into the conclusion that Goku Black killed Jirens' parents, it certainly would be a fascinating twist. One that would quite frankly tie the whole Dragon Ball Super series together. Something that's definitely worth discussing was the fact that Jiren's story in episode 127 wasn't concluded. Jiren kind of cut Belmont off. We didn't get to hear what Jiren's wish was. Android 17 seemed to know what it was, but his wish wasn't revealed. Everything that you hear on that wish is just theoretical up until now. Don't let anybody come out with their proof videos. I believe the purpose of using the shadowy figure with the red evil eyes and the pinky purple aura was simply to say, look, this is an evil being that caused Jiren trauma in the past. I believe it was just an effort to create a villainous character at the end of the series when there's no need to develop a character. Hopefully the villain does get revealed in the last few episodes. I certainly would like to know who it was, whether Jiren defeated him in the end. The writing team would have to come up with an incredibly creative way to fit Goku Black being that villain. We all love Goku Black's character. He was pretty awesome, but I just don't think it was Goku Black that killed his parents. You know what? If they come up with a great idea, I hope I'm wrong. So let me know your thoughts on this theory in the comment section. If you believe there's a creative way to pull this off, make sure you let me know your ideas in the comment section. I love reading creative ideas. Smash that like button with the biggest Kamehameha you can muster. Do not forget to subscribe if you haven't subscribed already, and make sure you click that bell to ensure you get notified of my new content. Until next time, Ad Astra.